9 years of being a pilot, and I've never been this nervous to fly a plane. That's because my airplane's engine had to be sent out, disassembled, some parts replaced, and put back together. Now it's time to get the engine back on the plane and start flying. But here's the catch. I need to get it back in the air quickly, in time for our Flying Monkey group trip to Mexico. We've got over 25 people and 7 planes on our second annual Baja flying adventure, and I definitely don't want to let anyone down. The clock is ticking, and I want to put a lot of hours on the engine before venturing so far down into Baja. So it's time to be the test pilot for this repaired engine. In this video, we'll see what was wrong with the engine and overcome several problems as we race the clock to try to get this plane and pilot back in the air in time to fly to Mexico. Here's a super quick recap of the engine problem. During the annual inspection, my mechanic noticed one of the exhaust valves looked like it wasn't opening all the way. We borescoped the engine, saw the valve looked like it was starting to unevenly burn, and eventually ended up pulling the cylinder to get a good look at the camshaft. One lobe on the cam was worn and the lifter was spalling. Just about the worst news for an airplane owner. So we pulled the engine and sent it to an engine shop to be taken apart, inspected, and have the camshaft replaced. They found 2 lobes of the cam had serious wear and 3 lifters were damaged. So we ordered a complete set of replacement lifters with the newer, harder coating, along with a new camshaft from Lycoming. The only bit of good news was that the rest of the engine, like the crankshaft and bearings, all looked like they were in great shape. The engine was delivered back to the shop in California, and I stopped by to check out the reinstallation. We got the engine back on the airplane, and they're putting the mags on, timing the mags. We're gonna do a dynamic prop balance to get it all balanced so there's minimal vibrations. As the team was putting the engine back together, I had plenty of time to think about the fact that I'd have to be the one to fly it first. I really wanted to make sure I was doing everything as safely and cautiously as I could, but I knew eventually I'd meet the moment of pushing that throttle forward and accelerating to leave the ground, having to trust all the parts and workmanship that went into the engine repair. I'm going to do some run-ups and some high-speed taxis, and we'll leak check everything, and then if everything goes well, I'll take off and do some laps above the airport. The next step was to pre-oil the engine, which involves removing spark plugs and cranking the engine until oil pressure builds. This ensures that there's oil throughout the engine systems to lubricate the parts and prevent damage during the first startup.
Clear prep.
After oil pressure was established, it was time for the moment of truth, to see if the engine would start for the first time since being put back together.
Clear. Clear.
The engine started up and everything was looking good, but my mechanic noticed the mechanical-driven fuel pump was spilling fuel. It had been working fine on previous flights and wasn't even part of any work done on the engine. That's a problem. So I think we have to replace the fuel pump, which is a huge bummer. If he can't overnight it, we should try to see what we can get.
Okay.
Because I really want to get this thing up and going this week. This is my chance to fly it this week. And then I got this trip coming up, so I got to fly a shitload of hours on it. I can't believe that fuel pump, man. Yeah, I'll try to overnight a fuel pump and then get it going tomorrow so I can fly the rest of the week. Be ready for this trip to Mexico. We'll see. May not happen for me, but we're going to try to do everything we can to make it happen and stay safe still. So I definitely didn't want to let the Baja Flying Monkeys down, so I was determined to get things back on track. Let's get everything done that we can. We had already hired someone to come out to balance the propeller, so with a fire extinguisher close by, we went through the dynamic balance procedure. We do this to have less vibration in the engine, which is better for the overall health of many airplane components. Things break when they vibrate. The tech uses accelerometers attached to the engine to measure the vibration in combination with an optical tack. He identifies the angle of imbalance and adds small weights to correct it and then retest. Make it smooth. All right, we got to figure out this pump thing. I spent the rest of the day and the next day nailing down the intricacies of the exact fuel pump we needed and got one ordered. This fuel pump problem was set to derail our big trip. Finding the right parts for an airplane can be... Hang on a second. They're always asking me for our passwords, so I guess this is a good time for me to tell you about the sponsor of this video, NordPass. Let's say you run a business with a bunch of minions. You can securely store and sync passkeys with your employees and colleagues. NordPass is an intuitive and easy-to-use password manager perfect for decluttering your work and personal online life. You can also securely share payment information and notes. And NordPass makes it super easy to give and revoke access to systems, software, and sensitive data. So when employees depart your company, removing their access is quick and uncomplicated. NordPass can also identify vulnerabilities early with one of the market's most robust data breach scanners, which scans the web 24/7 for data breaches involving your online accounts. Stop wasting time struggling with passwords and credentials. Take advantage of this limited time offer and secure your business effortlessly with a 3-month NordPass trial. Use Flying Monkey activation code at nordpass.com/flyingmonkey. Okay, like I was saying before, finding the right parts for an airplane can be a huge challenge. After dozens of phone calls, I finally found the right part in stock. We barely made the FedEx cutoff. It was kind of a nail biter, and I'm on my way to the airport because the fuel pump should be delivered any minute, and the mechanic can get going on putting it on the airplane, and I can continue on with doing the run-ups. Doesn't give me a lot of confidence in all the other parts of the engine either, but that's what these tests the next couple days are for. It's always something with the airplane maintenance, man. We got the fuel pump on the plane, checked it, and I taxied out to do some run-ups. We'll look for oil temperature, oil pressure, and fuel flow. Look for cylinder temps, exhaust gas temps, make sure the engine monitor is working, and then we'll make sure nothing's leaking.
It's good. 60 mag drop on each. That's good. Temps are good. The fuel flow's good. So yeah, it's looking good and sounding good. It certainly feels smooth.
Full power run-up went well, and mechanic got a good look at the engine afterwards. Everything's looking good, so I'm going to do some high-speed taxis, but I think I'm going to wait for this rain to clear. Well, the rain put a damper on those plans. I was hoping to do the high-speed taxis, but it started raining a lot. I thought it'd be better just to wait. Hopefully today is the day that we'll get 1 Bravo Whiskey back in the air after about 5 months of being grounded with this engine issue. I'm here at Whiteman Airport, and my friend James is gonna fly me over to El Monte because optimistically, I won't have a car there, and then I can just fly the airplane back here, and hoping that it all works out. So the plan is high-speed taxi, check that the prop governor is actually governing, bring it back here, pop the cowl, look at the engine, make sure everything's looking good. Then I'm gonna take off and do some laps at like about 1,000 feet above pattern altitude and have them look at it again. And I'm really freaking nervous. I feel a little bit like a test pilot.
All right, I do like how it seems to start up like very easily. I mean, this engine has always kind of been like that, but yeah, it seems to just kind of like spring to life, and it also feels pretty smooth. Maybe it's in my head because I got a lot of stuff done on it, but I don't know, and I want it to be better than it was. But yeah, I think I feel like it's smoother. So we're gonna treat this like a takeoff. All right. Power's good. Gauges are green. And airspeed is alive. Fuel flow's good. RPM's 2,600. That all was good. I felt really good about it.
After the high-speed taxi, we popped the cowl to have a look, and I'm glad we did. All right, so the induction tubing had moved a little bit. It slipped a little, so they've retightened that, and we're just looking for leaks. So I'm gonna do one more high-speed taxi before we fly and pop the cowl one more time. The next high-speed taxi went great. We popped the cowl again and had another look. It all looked good, so the time had come to do an actual test flight.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, I'm nervous, definitely nervous.
Man, it's been like 5 months since I've flown. I know the workmanship gone into this engine is great.
There's definitely room for failure of those parts.
Just don't have 100% confidence in parts sometimes. So that's just on my mind here. If I have a engine failure with enough remaining to land, I'll land.
I'm gonna look at the satellite imagery of the
airport. Make sure we have a plan for when things don't go right.
Yeah, so I'm going to take runway 1.
Runway 1.
And
you have the river.
There's
right
the
here.
river right next to it, so that's good. And then the river turns this way.
River turns.
I mean, if I had an engine failure right after takeoff, I think I would just go in this river here.
100%.
Like this one.
If you...
Any like power, there's overpasses.
Yeah.
There's 2 overpasses.
But you'll probably make it past those. If not, dive.
Go under them. So it's not really that much water in there, and it's concrete.
No, it is covered, but it's like only a couple inches of water.
If there's no runway remaining, then I will go for the river basin. And I'll just keep a tight box pattern over the airport. I'll keep an eye on the temps and everything, and then I'll come back and land after like 30, 45 minutes. Just always try to keep within gliding distance of the airport. That's the key.
That's it. No one else is going to fly it for you.
Yeah.
Just got to be prepared.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much ready.
Yeah, I believe in you, buddy.
Monte Tower, November 631, Bravo Whiskey is holding short of runway 1 at Foxtrot. I'd like to do a box pattern over the airport at 2,300 if possible for maintenance checks.
1 Bravo Whiskey, Roger. Proof has requested make left turns over the airfield at 2,100. Runway 1, clear takeoff.
Okay, you said 2,100 is it possible for 2,300, 631 Bravo Whiskey?
My apologies, yes, 2,300 approved.
Okay, clear for takeoff, runway 1, box pattern, left traffic, 2,300, 631 Bravo Whiskey. Alright, gauges are green, airspeed's alive. This thing really wants to go. Woo! Okay, we can rotate. I'm at a VY. RPMs are good. We're getting a 1,800 foot per minute climb rate here. It's pretty good. We're very lightly loaded. All the temps, pressures, fuel flow, everything's looking good.
Cherokee 1 Bravo Whiskey, just continue on your present heading. I'll have you turn left momentarily just for spacing.
Okay, present heading. I am doing a post-maintenance flight, so as close to the airport as I can be would be preferable. Thanks, 1 Bravo Whiskey.
1 Bravo Whiskey, your turn is approved. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate that, 1 Bravo Whiskey. Yeah, okay, just going around in circles here.
I flew laps above the airport for about 45 minutes and landed again to pop the cowl and have the mechanic take another look.
First landing back in 5 months, I greased it.
All the temps, pressures, and fuel flows looked spot on, and the engine felt like it made great power and was very smooth at all settings. We found no leaks or other anomalies. It's super exciting and feels great to be back in the air again. Over the next 2 days, I put many hours on the engine and flew half a dozen instrument approaches to get current again. Just in time for our Mexican flying adventure, thanks to some friends and the mechanics that worked on the plane. And if you're interested in flying trips, meetups, full instrument approach videos, and tons of bonus content, come join our Patreon.
It's very exciting, and I'm alive, which is good. So far, so far.